The vast blackness of space stretched endlessly, a silent void dotted with distant stars. On the bridge of the USCSS Valiant, Captain Mara Keene stared at the blinking console in front of her. A signal was coming through, faint but unmistakable, a human distress call. She leaned forward, her brow furrowed as the voice crackled over the comms. "This is Krivos 4 Colony. We are under attack. Need immediate assistance. Colony is lost." The message cut off suddenly. Silence followed. No one moved for a moment, the hum of the ship's engines filling the tension in the room. Mara's hands clenched on the console. She had heard distress calls before, but something about this one made her chest tighten. Krivos 4. She remembered reading reports of the planet, a frozen, deadly world filled with jagged cliffs, poisonous storms, and predators capable of killing an adult human in minutes. Only the toughest settlers had survived there. Only humans, she thought grimly, could survive there at all. Lieutenant Rena Solis, her communications officer, broke the silence. "Captain, the signal is almost gone." Whatever attacked them, it didn't give them a chance to send more than a few words. Mara's eyes did not leave the screen. "Prepare for jump. Set coordinates to Krivos the 4. We are going to find out exactly what happened." The crew sprang into action. The Valiant's engines roared as it jumped through space, leaving the familiar comfort of the Sol system behind. Mara stood at the helm, her mind racing. She had faced dangerous worlds before, but this was different. This was an SOS, a clear call for help from humans stranded on a planet designed to kill them. Krivos 4 came into view slowly, a jagged planet wrapped in storms of green and violet gas. Its surface was scarred with massive craters and deep valleys. Mara's heart tightened as she saw the colonists' small settlements flickering faintly in the twilight. Smoke rose from one settlement, a thin column that was almost invisible against the violent storms. Lieutenant Solis tapped her console. "Captain, readings show large moving energy signatures near the colony. They are alien in nature, very high power levels." Mara's jaw tightened. "The Zarathi," she muttered. The intelligence reports had warned of them. A species that terraformed worlds into hunting grounds using both technology and biology to dominate. They were deadly, calculating, and adaptive. Most species would have no chance against them, but Mara knew humans were different. Humans had a stubbornness, a resourcefulness, an instinct that allowed them to survive on worlds that would kill others in hours. She glanced at the crew, then at the stars stretching infinitely before them. "Prepare the Deathworlders," she said, her voice steady but filled with determination. The crew looked at her with understanding. Deathworlders were elite soldiers trained to survive anywhere on any planet, no matter how deadly. They were humans at their peak, fast, strong, intelligent, and fearless. Mara herself had trained with them. She knew what they could do. By the time the Valiant entered the upper atmosphere of Krivos 4, the crew could see the chaos below. The colony was a cluster of metal structures, some burned, some damaged by strange alien machinery. Large spiked creatures moved in the distance, their forms blurred by the thick green mist that constantly swept across the planet. Mara's heart pounded. "We land here, we find the colonists, and we push back these invaders. Everyone knows the plan. Stick together, watch each other's backs, and remember, we are humans. We survive where no one else can." The ship descended through the storm. Lightning danced across jagged cliffs, and acid rain hissed as it hit the hull. The Deathworlders prepared their gear, each piece designed to protect them from the extreme conditions while giving them maximum combat effectiveness. Mara checked the roster. "Rena, how many survivors can we detect?" "Too few," Solis replied. "Only small groups hiding in the northern valleys. They are moving, but very slowly. The aliens have them cornered," Mara nodded. "Then we move fast. No hesitation. If we delay, we lose them all." The landing was rough. The Valiant's engines roared as it shook violently, pushing against the winds that threatened to throw it off balance. Finally, it settled near a cliff that gave a view of the colony below. Mara and her team exited the ship, stepping into the world they had trained to conquer. Immediately, the dangers of Krivos 4 made themselves known. The ground squelched underfoot, acidic water pooling in craters while the sky above swirled with green lightning. Mara took a deep breath, feeling the familiar thrill of danger. Humans were made for moments like this. "Move out," she ordered. The Deathworlders advanced, blending with the jagged rocks and dense fog. Their mission was simple but deadly. find the colonists, protect them, and repel the alien threat. As they moved, Mara noticed the subtle signs that made humans different. Unlike the aliens, who relied on sheer power and technology, humans used cunning. They adapted. She signaled to her team to follow her lead, stepping carefully on paths where acid pools would neutralize themselves or where carnivorous plants could be baited to trap the alien scouts. Suddenly, a movement to her left caught her eye. A large, multi-legged creature skittered across the rocks, its eyes glowing. Mara did not hesitate. She signaled a Deathworlder, and the creature was swiftly neutralized using a combination of precise weaponry and environmental traps. "See?" Mara whispered to herself. "This is why humans survive. We think ahead. We improvise." They reached the colony outskirts as the sun of Krivos 4 dipped behind the jagged horizon, painting the sky in harsh shades of violet and orange. Smoke rose from destroyed buildings, and faint screams carried on the acidic wind. Mara's stomach tightened, but she kept moving. From the shadows, a small group of colonists emerged. They were thin, exhausted, and fearful, but alive. Mara moved toward them, raising her hands in a gesture of calm. "We are here to help," she called. "Stay close, follow our lead, and we will get you out safely." The colonists hesitated, but one man stepped forward, his face covered in grime and sweat. They came from nowhere," he said, voice trembling. "The Zarathi. They hunt everything. We tried to fight, but we are not like you." Mara nodded, understanding his fear. Humans were often underestimated, but when faced with death, they became unstoppable. "Then you are lucky we arrived," she said firmly. "We are human. We survive where others fall. Trust us. You will live." As night fell, the Deathworlders set up a defensive perimeter around the survivors. They used the terrain to their advantage. Jagged cliffs, poisonous plants, and acid pools became part of a defensive network. Mara walked among her team, ensuring everyone knew their roles. The sky above roared with the sounds of alien machinery, the Zarathi preparing for a night attack. Mara allowed herself a brief smile. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they always found a way. This would be no different. She activated her comms, sending a coded message to Earth. SOS received. Krivos 4 under alien attack. Deathworlders deployed. Colony survivors secured. Prepare for full engagement. As the message transmitted, Mara looked out over the stormy landscape. The humans under her command were ready. They would fight. They would adapt, and they would survive. Krivos the 4 might be a death world, but they were humanity's finest, and nothing could stop them. The night was dark, the wind sharp, and the threats deadly. But Mara Keen and her Deathworlders were human, and humans, she knew, were unstoppable. The first light of Krivos the 4's dim sun barely pierced the swirling clouds of green and violet storms. Captain Mara Keen surveyed the landscape from the ridge where her team had taken position. Below, the colony lay in ruins. Jagged metal structures twisted and torn, smoke rising in thin, sickly plumes that vanished into the acidic mist. The air was thick and harsh, burning lungs with each breath. Yet the humans moved steadily, their eyes sharp, their instincts honed by years of surviving the impossible. Lieutenant Rena Solis tapped her comm panel, scanning the colony. "Captain, energy readings indicate movement near the central compound. Multiple signatures. They are not human." Mara's lips pressed together. The Zarathi. They were methodical, dangerous, and deadly. The colonists had already seen what they were capable of. Mara turned to her Deathworlders, a group of the most resilient humans in the fleet. "We know what they can do," she said. "We know what humans are capable of. Remember, this is our planet as much as theirs. Move with caution, but move with confidence. We saved those colonists." The Deathworlders nodded silently, already splitting into squads. Some would scout ahead, marking safe paths. Others would establish defensive positions and traps while Mara and the main force prepared to reach the survivors. As they descended the ridge, the ground shifted beneath them. Krivos Aubrey's terrain was treacherous. Acidic pools bubbled in depressions, while carnivorous plants twitched at the slightest disturbance. The humans moved with precision, careful not to trigger natural hazards. Where an ordinary human would panic, they adapted. A Deathworlder named Jackson Vale kicked a rock into a nearby acid pool, using the splash to distract a hunting plant, then motioned for the group to continue. Mara couldn't help but admire the instinctive brilliance of her team. "Captain," whispered Rena, "the colony perimeter is crawling with Zarathi patrols. There are at least a dozen in the eastern approach. Mara scanned the horizon, noting the alien silhouettes, tall, angular forms moving with a strange, fluid motion. They were hunting humans, treating them like prey. Mara clenched her jaw. "We will not be prey," she said. "We will be predators if we must. Prepare the ambush positions. Use the terrain." The Deathworlders nodded and melted into the rocks and mist, disappearing from sight in a way that would have seemed impossible to anyone else. Their camouflage was perfect, enhanced by instinct and experience. Krivos 4 was no longer just a dangerous world. It had become a tool. The first clash came quietly. A small patrol of Zerathi moved along a narrow ridge, unaware of the humans lying in wait. Mara signaled to Jackson. With a series of hand gestures, the ambush was set. Acid traps and collapsing rocks forced the aliens into confined spaces. Then, at Mara's command, the Deathworlders struck. The attack was swift, brutal, and precise. The Zerathi, though strong, were caught off guard. A combination of speed, human cunning, and environmental hazards allowed the Deathworlders to neutralize them without suffering casualties. One of the aliens tried to flee, but a carnivorous plant, carefully baited by the humans, did what Mara had predicted. "Move forward," Mara said. "The survivors won't wait forever." Reaching the colony, the humans found small groups of survivors huddled in crumbling structures. Their faces were pale, eyes wide with fear, but hope sparked as they recognized the humans approaching. Mara approached the nearest group, raising her hands in a gesture of calm. "We are here to help," she said firmly. "Follow us, stay close, and we will get you to safety." A woman stepped forward, trembling. They destroyed our defenses. We tried to fight, but we couldn't. They are everywhere." Mara nodded, understanding the fear that gripped them. She placed a hand on the woman's shoulder. "You are safe now. Humans survive where others fail. Trust us, and you will live." The colonists hesitated, but eventually followed the Deathworlders as they led them through the treacherous terrain. Mara kept her eyes on the horizon. The Zerathi were intelligent, and they would not give up easily. Humans had to act quickly but intelligently. As they moved, Mara noticed the unique skill that made humans different. While the Zerathi relied on brute force and alien technology, humans adapted to every challenge. They used the environment as a weapon. A small group of Deathworlders used rocks to collapse tunnels behind them, cutting off pursuing aliens. Others set traps using Krivos 4's deadly flora, ensuring the aliens could not advance without risk. Dr. Eli Navarro, a colony scientist who had stayed behind to help the survivors, joined Mara. "Captain," he said, his voice calm but urgent, "I've been studying the planet's ecosystem. I think we can use it against the Zerathi. Some plants secrete corrosive acids. Others move quickly enough to trap small creatures. If we combine their behavior with human tactics, we can turn the environment into a weapon." Mara's eyes lit up. "Exactly what I thought. Humans don't just survive, we adapt. We use the world to our advantage." Night fell quickly on Krivos 4, turning the jagged cliffs and ruined colony into shadowy silhouettes. The aliens would strike under cover of darkness, confident in their numbers. Mara ordered the Deathworlders to set defensive perimeters, combining their advanced training with the planet's natural hazards. Tense hours passed. The wind screamed, carrying the alien sounds and distant haunting cries. Mara moved silently among her team, checking each position, reinforcing traps, and reminding everyone of their purpose. A patrol of Zerathi appeared on the ridge above. The Deathworlders were ready. Mara's signal, a sharp whistle, set the ambush in motion. Rocks tumbled, plants attacked, and acidic pools erupted at just the right moment. The aliens were caught in a maze of deadly traps, and the humans moved like shadows, striking with precision. The battle was over before the aliens could realize what had happened. Not one human casualty. The colonists stared in awe as Mara's team emerged from the mist, unscathed but alive. After the fight, Mara and Navarro gathered the survivors in a sheltered area, explaining what they had to do next. "We need to secure the colony, use the planet's features to protect ourselves, and plan our counterattack," Mara said. "You all survived this long because of your courage. Now we will give you the chance to live fully, not just survive." Navarro nodded. "The planet itself is deadly, yes, but it responds to human ingenuity. We can manipulate the plants, the terrain, even the weather patterns in small ways to our advantage. This world is dangerous, but we are smarter." Mara smiled faintly. "That is the human way. Where others see death, we see possibility. Where others fall, we rise. That is why we survive, why we fight, and why we will win. The survivors began helping with preparations, inspired by the humans' bravery and determination. They reinforced the remaining structures, set up simple traps, and learned to use the dangerous environment to their advantage. Mara watched them work, pride swelling in her chest. Humans were not just tough, they were clever, adaptable, and unyielding. Krivos of 4 was a death world, yes, but humans had the tools to turn it into a fortress. Hours passed, and the sky above began to glow with alien movement once more. The Zarathi were regrouping, sensing that humans were more than mere prey. Mara's team prepared for the next phase, not just survival but offense. The Deathworlders would hunt, strike, and reclaim what was taken. Humans are not just survivors, Mara told her team quietly. We are predators, and on this world, we will show them why. As the night deepened, the storm winds of Krivos 4 carried the echoes of preparation and determination. The Deathworlders, together with the colonists, became a single unit, a force that combined human courage, intelligence, and resourcefulness. Somewhere above, in the dark reaches of space, Earth received the first faint reports from Krivos 4. The message was simple but clear. Humans were not just surviving, they were adapting, fighting, and preparing to reclaim the planet. And on Krivos 4, the first true signs of hope were taking root in a world designed to kill them. The morning light on Krivos 4 was harsh and unforgiving. Greenish clouds swirled across the sky, carrying electric storms and acidic rain. Yet for Captain Mara Keen and her Deathworlders, the planet no longer felt like an enemy. It was a tool, a weapon, and a shield. Humans had adapted, and now it was time to strike back. Mara stood on a jagged cliff overlooking the ruined colony. Below, the survivors worked tirelessly to fortify their shelters, learn basic defensive tactics, and prepare for what would come. Mara knew that to save Krivos 4 and its people, the humans had to take the fight to the Zarathi. Passive defense would only delay the inevitable. "Everyone ready?" Mara asked, her voice calm but firm. The Deathworlders nodded. They were humans molded by adversity, strong, quick-thinking, and fearless. Jackson Vale, always first into danger, tapped his chest plate in agreement. "We've been waiting for this, Captain," he said. Mara smiled faintly. "Then let's make this world ours." The first challenge was navigating the alien patrols. The Zarathi moved like shadows, almost blending with the terrain. Their technology was advanced: scanners, energy shields, and deadly weapons. But humans had something the Zarathi had not anticipated: intuition, adaptability, and raw creativity. Mara divided the team into squads. Some would draw the aliens into traps, others would set ambushes using the terrain, and a small team, including Mara herself, would aim to disrupt the aliens' central command signal, which Navarro had discovered controlled their hive mind communication. "Use the terrain," Mara instructed. "Lead them where we want them. The rocks, the acid pools, the plants, all of it is part of our plan. Remember, we survive here because we adapt faster than any other species." The first clash was swift. Mara's squad lured a small patrol into a narrow canyon, lined with jagged rocks and carnivorous flora. The Deathworlders had baited the plants carefully, ensuring that the aliens would not anticipate an attack from nature itself. As the Zarathi advanced, rocks fell, spikes emerged from the ground, and the plants lunged with terrifying speed. The humans struck with precision. One Deathworlder used a portable energy net to entangle a Zarathi, while another triggered a chemical reaction that burned the aliens' protective armor. It was a combination of skill, planning, and improvisation, the very traits that made humans so deadly on hostile worlds. In minutes, the patrol was neutralized. Not a single human was harmed. Mara watched from above, satisfied but knowing the real battle was only beginning. Meanwhile, Dr. Eli Navarro worked with the colonists to set up environmental traps for the larger alien forces. He had spent months studying Krivos 4's ecosystem, and now saw how it could be weaponized. Acidic plants could be redirected into narrow chasms, sharp-tipped vines could be used to channel alien movement, and natural geysers could be triggered to knock the aliens off balance. "Humans have the patience of the planet itself," Navarro muttered to Mara. "We see patterns. We use what others fear. That's why we survive where others die." Mara nodded. "Exactly. On Krivos 4, humans are more than soldiers. We are part of the world, and the world fights with us. The larger Zarathi forces approached by midday. Unlike the first small patrol, these aliens were cautious, aware now that humans were not merely prey. Mara's squads waited, hidden among rocks and plant cover. The humans had learned to move like the storm itself, silent, precise, and unpredictable. When the aliens entered the kill zone, Mara gave the signal. Rocks tumbled from above, vines lashed out, and acid pools erupted. The Zarathi, though technologically superior, could not adapt quickly enough. Humans moved through the chaos like ghosts, striking, retreating, and then striking again. One of the aliens tried to flee into the forest, but a Deathworlder had anticipated its path. Using a combination of speed and makeshift weapons, the alien was neutralized before it could warn its hive. Navarro watched from behind a barricade, marveling at the human efficiency. "They are fearless," he said. "Not reckless, fearless. That is why humans survive." As the battle progressed, Mara realized that the humans needed to disrupt the hive mind. If the Zarathi could communicate without delay, they could adjust their strategy too quickly. Mara, Jackson, and a small team set off toward the central signal node, hidden in a crystalline formation deep within a canyon. The journey was perilous. Razor-sharp rocks cut through their protective gear, and alien patrols moved unpredictably through the fog. Yet humans adapted. Mara signaled her team to move silently along a natural ridge, using shadows to conceal their presence. Every step was calculated, every movement precise. When they reached the signal node, the aliens were already aware of human presence. Mara's heart raced, but she did not hesitate. The Deathworlders had trained for this. Using a combination of tools and improvised explosives, they disrupted the node, sending a pulse that scrambled the Zarathi's communication network. For the first time, the aliens were disoriented. Mara signaled her squads. "Now, hit them while they are blind." The coordinated assault was like nothing the Zarathi had faced before. Humans moved as one, each squad complementing the other. Ambushes, traps, and direct strikes combined to create chaos the aliens could not counter. Mara watched as the battle unfolded below, feeling a surge of pride. Humans were not just fighting. They were turning Krivos 4 itself into a weapon. Colonists, inspired by the humans' courage, joined where they could, setting traps, assisting with supplies, and even guiding Deathworlders through safe paths they knew from surviving on the planet. The combined human effort began to overwhelm the alien forces. For the first time, the Zarathi retreated, their numbers thinning, their confidence shaken. Mara allowed herself a small smile. Krivos 4, a death world designed to destroy humans, was now a battlefield humans could control. As the smoke cleared, Mara gathered her team. "This is only the beginning," she said, her voice steady despite exhaustion. "We have shown the Zarathi that humans are unpredictable, adaptable, and relentless. Tomorrow we push further. We do not just defend, we reclaim." Jackson approached, wiping grime from his face. "They won't expect humans to strike again so quickly," he said. "We can use that," Mara nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive because we anticipate, adapt, and innovate. On Krivos 4 we are unstoppable because we are human." Night fell again, bringing with it the eerie green light of the planet's storms. The survivors were secured in reinforced shelters, and the Deathworlders patrolled the perimeter. Mara walked among them, ensuring everyone remained alert but not afraid. The humans had tasted victory and it strengthened them, but the real battle was far from over. She turned to Navarro. "The planet itself is fighting with us now," she said. "We know its dangers, we can use them, and we can protect the colonists. But we need to prepare for their next strike. They will not give up easily." Navarro nodded. "And humans will not give up either. We adapt, we endure, and we fight back." The night passed with no further alien attacks, allowing the humans to rest briefly. Mara stood at the edge of the cliff, staring at the stormy horizon. Krivos 4 was still deadly, still unpredictable, but humans had proven they were stronger. They had survived where the colony alone could not. Mara whispered to herself almost as a vow, "We are human. We survive, we adapt, and we will reclaim this world." Somewhere above, Earth received reports of the counterattack. The message was simple but clear. Humans were not just surviving, they were fighting back. Humanity had unleashed its full potential, showing the universe why Deathworlders were feared and respected. And on Krivos 4, hope burned brighter than ever. Krivosfi's night was alive with distant roars, the alien creatures moving across jagged cliffs and dense forest under the glow of green lightning. Captain Marakeen stood on a rocky ledge, surveying the battlefield. The Zarathi had regrouped after the humans' first counterattack. Their movements were more cautious, their strikes more precise. But Mara's team had learned too. Humans adapted. Humans survived, and soon they would turn the tide completely. Captain, Lieutenant Rena Solis called from her console. Sensors show multiple clusters of Zarathi advancing from the east. They are coordinating their movements better than before. Mara nodded. Then we adapt. Prepare the squads. We do not just defend. Tonight we show them what humans are capable of. The Deathworlders moved swiftly, blending with Krivosfo's deadly terrain. Acid pools, carnivorous plants, and jagged rocks became part of their strategy. Each trap calculated to channel the aliens into positions of disadvantage. Mara's eyes scanned the horizon, noting how the planet itself seemed to respond to human presence. Where others saw danger, humans saw opportunity. Dr. Eli Navarro worked alongside the colonists to reinforce the improvised defenses. If we can guide the Zarathi into these choke points, he explained, pointing to a narrow canyon flanked by spiked plants and acid pools, we can take out entire squads at once. The planet is more dangerous than they are. If we use it right, Mara smiled faintly. Exactly. Humans are never just fighters. We are thinkers, innovators, and survivors. Krivosfor is alive. We are alive. And together, we are unstoppable. The first wave of aliens struck as the human forces were in position. The Deathworlders waited silently, hidden in shadows and behind natural barriers. As the Zarathi advanced into the canyon, Mara gave the signal. Rocks tumbled, plants lunged, and acid erupted from hidden pools. The ambush was precise. Humans moved like shadows, attacking, retreating, and attacking again. Each strike coordinated to maximize alien casualties while avoiding human losses. The Zarathi, confused by the unpredictability and resourcefulness of their opponents, faltered for the first time. While the front line engaged, Mara led a small strike team on a risky mission to infiltrate a central alien command node. Navarro had identified it as the source of the Zarathi hive mind communication. Disabling it could turn the alien forces into chaos. The path was treacherous. Razor-sharp rocks and shifting terrain forced the humans to move carefully. But they adapted instantly, using handholds and natural ledges to bypass dangerous sections. Mara's mind was focused, every step calculated. Humans survived because they anticipated, adapted, and acted. When they reached the crystalline node, they found a squad of Zarathi guarding it. Mara signaled to her team. With silent precision, the humans neutralized the guards using improvised traps and hand-to-hand tactics, leaving no trace of their presence. Navarro worked quickly to disrupt the hive mind signal, using a combination of human ingenuity and crude improvisation. Sparks flew as he adjusted devices, recalibrated frequencies, and finally activated a pulse that scrambled the aliens' communication network. For the first time, the Zarathi were disoriented. Orders could not reach all units, coordination faltered, and confusion spread among the ranks. Mara's eyes gleamed. Now, she whispered, we strike. The human forces unleashed a coordinated counterattack across the colony. Deathworlders moved with precision, combining environmental traps, direct assaults, and guerrilla tactics. Alien squads were funneled into kill zones, attacked from multiple angles and overwhelmed by sheer unpredictability. Colonists, inspired by the humans, played their part. They guided squads through safe paths, set minor traps, and provided critical support. Humans and colonists together formed a force the Zarathi could not comprehend. Intelligent, unpredictable, and fearless. As the battle raged, Mara saw the turning point. The aliens, once confident and methodical, were now reacting, not planning. Their hive mind had been disrupted and human ingenuity had seized control of the battlefield. Humans were not just surviving, they were dominating. Hours passed and Krivosfor itself seemed to respond. Carnivorous plants shifted naturally into advantageous positions. Acid pools bubbled at precise moments, and the jagged cliffs created natural choke points that funneled the aliens into traps. Humans had learned the rhythm of the planet and in doing so, had made it their ally. Mara paused for a moment, watching the chaos below. She felt a surge of pride. Humans had turned a world designed to kill them into a weapon against their enemies. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, This is why humans survive. Not because we are the strongest, but because we are the cleverest. We adapt, we endure, we overcome. Jackson Vale approached, his armor streaked with mud and grime. They didn't expect this, he said, a smile breaking across his face. Humans strike from nowhere. They cannot predict us, Mara nodded. And they never will. That is what makes us dangerous. That is what makes us human. The Zarathi, realizing their disarray, attempted to regroup. But Mara had anticipated this. She ordered squads to cut off escape routes, using the terrain to block paths and redirect the aliens toward prepared ambushes. The aliens tried to strike back, but their communication was too fractured. Each squad acted independently, making them vulnerable to human tactics. Navarro monitored the alien movements with his devices, adjusting the environmental traps in real time. He guided humans to the most effective positions, turning the natural hazards into lethal tools. The planet itself is on our side, he said, awe in his voice. Every trap we set, every path we use, it works with us. Mara nodded. Humans and planet together, that is how we survive. That is how we win. By dawn, the tide had fully turned. The Zarathi were in retreat, their numbers decimated, their strategy in ruins. Mara's team had inflicted massive losses without suffering any significant human casualties. The colonists emerged from their shelters, eyes wide with relief and admiration. Mara gathered her team and the survivors. Look around you, she said, gesturing to the battlefield. This world tried to kill us. The aliens thought we would fall, but humans adapt. We endure and we survive. Today, Krivos 4 belongs to us, at least for now. But remember, this is just the beginning. Navarro stepped forward. The planet has shown us its power. If we continue to work with it, we can protect the colony, rebuild and strike at the Zarathi whenever they come back. We can turn a death world into a fortress, Mara smiled. Exactly. Humans do not run from danger. We face it, learn from it, and use it to our advantage. Krivos 4 is our proof. And the universe will remember that humans are unstoppable. As the survivors worked to reinforce their shelters and tend to the wounded, Mara and her Deathworlders planned the next phase. The Zarathi would not give up easily, but humans had the advantage now. Knowledge of the terrain, control of the battlefield, and the spirit to fight no matter the odds. The night fell again, bringing silence to the jagged cliffs and stormy skies. Mara stood alone for a moment, looking out at the colony. The fires from the alien battle had burned out, leaving shadows that danced in the flickering light of the planet's twin moons. She whispered softly, almost as a promise, "We are human. We survive, we fight, and we will never fall." Somewhere above, Earth received reports of the battle. Humans had struck back and won. The message was clear. Wherever humans went, even the deadliest worlds could be conquered through courage, intelligence, and determination. On Krivos 4, hope burned brighter than ever. The colony was safe for now. The Deathworlders had proven their worth, and the Zarathi would soon learn that humans were not just survivors, they were predators in their own right. Mara turned to her team. "Rest tonight," she said. "Tomorrow we prepare for their next strike. Humans do not wait for threats to reach them. We anticipate, we adapt, we strike, and on Krivos 4, we are unstoppable." As the wind howled across the cliffs and storms raged in the distance, the humans of Krivos 4 slept with determination in their hearts. They were not afraid of death or danger. They were humans, resourceful, resilient, and relentless. And the universe would soon understand just how unstoppable they truly were. Dawn broke over Krivos 4, painting the jagged cliffs and toxic valleys in pale violet light. Captain Mara Keen stood on a ridge overlooking the colony and the surrounding wilderness. The Zarathi had regrouped after their last defeat, but Mara knew humans had the advantage now. They had studied the planet, adapted to its hazards, and harnessed its deadly features to their own benefit. "Everyone ready?" she asked, turning to her Deathworlders. They were weary but alert, their eyes bright with determination. Jackson Vale cracked a grin. "Ready to finish what we started, Captain." Mara nodded. "Then we strike. Today, Krivos 4 belongs fully to humanity." The humans had spent the night preparing. Colonists and Deathworlders worked together, reinforcing shelters, setting traps, and creating choke points. Navarro had calculated the optimal positions for ambushes, using the planet's natural hazards to their advantage. Acidic pools, sharp-tipped plants, jagged cliffs, and geysers were all carefully integrated into the battlefield. The humans had turned a Deathworld into a fortress. Lieutenant Solis adjusted sensors along the perimeter. Captain, the Zarathi are approaching in multiple waves. They seem to be coordinating better than before, but our traps and ambushes should give us the upper hand. Mara smiled faintly. Then it's time to remind them why humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The first wave of Zarathi moved across the valley, confident and predatory. They did not expect humans to launch a full-scale counterattack. Mara's squads waited silently, hidden among rocks, plants, and mist. When the aliens entered the first kill zone, the ambush was unleashed. Rocks tumbled, plants lunged, and acid pools erupted in precise timing. The Zarathi were caught off guard, their movements disrupted by the terrain itself. Humans struck swiftly and efficiently, using every advantage the planet offered. The colonists joined where they could, guiding squads through safe paths and helping trigger traps. Mara watched as humans moved like shadows, unpredictable and relentless. The Zarathi had never encountered such a coordinated force, and confusion spread through their ranks. While the front line engaged, Mara and a strike team moved toward the central hive mind node. Navarro had completed adjustments to their equipment, ensuring the disruption signal would spread farther and faster than before. The team navigated treacherous cliffs and acid streams, moving silently but swiftly. When they reached the node, Mara's instincts told her they were not alone. A squad of Zarathi guards approached, but Mara's team was ready. Using a combination of stealth, precision attacks, and environmental hazards, the humans neutralized the guards without alerting the main force. Navarro activated the pulse. Sparks shot across the crystalline structure, and a low hum filled the air as the hive mind communication network scrambled. Across the battlefield, alien units hesitated, their coordination faltering. The tide had fully turned. With the Zarathi disoriented, Mara signaled the full assault. Squads moved in coordinated waves, pushing the aliens back and reclaiming key positions. Rocks, spikes, and acidic pools became lethal instruments in the hands of humans who knew how to use them. One squad flanked a group of Zarathi near a canyon. Using a combination of grappling lines and controlled rock slides, the humans forced the aliens into a narrow passage where carnivorous plants waited. The aliens' advanced technology offered no protection against the combined power of humans and planet. Mara smiled faintly as she observed the battle. Humans were not just surviving, they were dominating. Krivos 4, a planet designed to kill, had become a weapon in their hands. Hours passed and the Zarathi tried to regroup for a final assault. Mara anticipated this. She had positioned squads at strategic points, ready to cut off any escape routes and counter any new attack. "Captain," Solus reported, "their central forces are moving toward the southern ridge. They seem desperate. If they break through, it could compromise our perimeter." Mara nodded. "Then we trap them. Use the terrain, the plants, the cliffs. They will not escape. Humanity does not retreat when the world itself fights with us." The southern ridge became the stage for the final confrontation. The humans had set every trap, every hazard, every advantage perfectly. As the Zarathi charged, they were funneled into narrow passages exposed to attacks from every side. Acid geysers erupted, rocks fell, and spiked plants struck with terrifying precision. Humans struck from above, below, and behind, a whirlwind of strategy and courage. The Zarathi faltered, their forces breaking under the relentless human assault. Mara led a squad to cut off the last escape path, ensuring no alien could flee to regroup. When the dust settled, the valley was silent except for the hissing of acid pools and the rustling of plants. The Zarathi were defeated. Mara gathered the survivors and her team. The colonists looked exhausted but alive, their faces filled with awe. Humans had not just survived. They had saved Krivos 4 and proven that determination, intelligence, and courage could overcome any threat. "Look around," Mara said, her voice strong. "This world tried to kill us. The aliens thought they could dominate us, but humans survive because we adapt, we endure, and we fight. Today, Krivos 4 belongs to humanity." Navarro stepped forward. "We have learned something valuable. A death world is not a prison for humans. It is a challenge, and humans rise to challenges like no other species can." The survivors nodded, inspired by the humans' bravery and determination. They began rebuilding, using the lessons learned during the battle to strengthen their shelters and fortify the colony. Krivos 4, once a death world, was now a bastion of human ingenuity and resilience. As the twin moons rose in the sky, Mara reflected on the journey. Humans had faced impossible odds, navigated a planet designed to destroy them, and fought an alien species that seemed unbeatable. Yet they had triumphed. Humans were not just survivors. They were pioneers, warriors, and innovators. Jackson approached, his armor streaked with mud and plant residue. "Captain," he said, "they will think twice before coming back. Humanity has shown its strength." Mara nodded. "And if they do return, they will find that humans never give up. We fight, we adapt, we win." In the following days, the colony thrived. Deathworlders trained the colonists in survival tactics, turning Krivos 4 into a world humans could dominate. Navarro continued studying the planet, discovering new ways to use the environment to protect and support the colony. Earth received detailed reports of the victory. Humans had faced a world and a species that were supposed to be unstoppable, yet they had emerged victorious. Krivos 4 became a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity, a testament to what humans could achieve when facing impossible odds. Mara stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the sun rise over the valleys and mountains. Survivors were building, training, and preparing. The humans had not only survived, they had established a foothold on a planet that had been written off as impossible to tame. She whispered to herself, almost as a vow, "Humans endure. Humans adapt, humans survive, and wherever we go, no world, no matter how deadly, can stop us." The wind carried the faint hum of the planet's storms, no longer threatening but almost welcoming. Krivos 4 had been a death world, yes, but now it belonged to humans, and humanity's legend had grown, proving that courage, intelligence, and determination could conquer even the deadliest challenges in the galaxy. Mara turned to her team. "Rest tonight. Tomorrow we continue. Humans do not stop. We prepare. We improve, we defend, and we explore. This is our way." The Deathworlders and colonists looked toward the horizon, ready for whatever the future held. They were humans. They were unstoppable, and Krivos 4 was only the beginning.